So we wanted to tackle some issues in our first episode, and I think like finances is a topic that really let's probably top of mind for every dad
Yes.
out there. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on, and we can dive into this in other episodes. You can do a deeper dive, but like financially, what kind of advice you are with AXA?
I'm with AXA and COL Financial, so I'm a private wealth manager.
Okay, because that's great.
By
Because
trade.
Rafi sold me my policy, and so he has
Both
been
of you are my clients, actually. This is a ploy, by the way.
Yeah, it was an entire ploy. But something like, what are some of the things that you wanted to share with, let's say, somebody out there who's just listening for the first time? Let's give them a tip or two about.
Don't be scared to invest. One of the beautiful things I think about COL, CitySec Online, COL Financial. It used to be, kasi before, if you wanted to get into the stock market, you would have to have a stockbroker or a banker. You'd call your banker or your broker and be like, hey, what's the price of PLDT? And can I buy it? It's such a headache.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so COL was the first one to like build web infrastructure and really democratize that whole thing. You pull up you make an account, fund it with $1,000, and you're off. Like you can buy, sell, whatever. It kind of took out so many barriers of entry for barriers of entry for investing into the stock market. Now, you can buy very, very valuable stocks for real cheap right now. So if you have a long enough timeline, then just invest. March and April are dividend seasons also for the stock market. So I had a lot of clients who just got extra cash because they received all of their dividends also this month and last month. Like it can seem intimidating. It can seem very overwhelming. Just look around your house. Like, what are the recession-proof or financially super stable companies that I can buy in? Well, the lights. Okay, that's Meralco. My water. Oh, that's my Nilad. My phone, my bank accounts. Oh, that's BPI. That's, it's very easy. You know what I mean? It's not tricky. We don't have like we don't have an insane like tech sector like in the US with the NASDAQ and, where it gets super tricky and you're thinking of thousands or hundreds of thousands of companies where you want to invest. That's not the case here. It's very, 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 very small. It can be very intimidating at first, but if you dedicate maybe, I don't know, an hour or two to just like look into what the news is on the financials, you can get a pretty good grip on where you can put in your money. Like the US is in a tailspin, right? Our tariffs, pause. Now just China, pause. Like, no, but you know what I mean? From what we can see and what our analysts see, we think it's actually bottom or pretty close to the bottom already.
Yeah, it should be.
And it's a great time. So that's my little piece of advice. So it's actually a great time to start tranching it. Not go all in, right? But start tranching in.
You're going to get your first exposure.
Yeah,
Now's
if you're
the
gonna,
time.
yeah, it's a great time to start investing.
I want to make my own bonds.
Right.
Just to have James. bonds.
The James Bond.
I just wanted to.
That's our first dad joke.
There we
That's
go.
our first dad joke. That's our first dad
Yes.
joke
What's
for
your
the James
exposure?
Bond.
How do you see your finances, or what do you invest in, or what's your? Is it money under the mattress? Is it?
Yeah. Wow. Well, first of all,
And where's that mattress? If
Under my wife's. She'll protect it more than I would.
so, well, yeah, what does it look like for you?
well, Raf, you explained it more than succinctly.
Okay,
in regards
sorry.
to getting in regards to getting in, the stock market is the way to go. That's the one that I dabble in. Whatever. I think for sure I can say with absolute confidence that us three here, no matter what platform you use to invest in, as long as you're investing,
Yes.
that's what's most important. I mean, if it's real estate, that is your thing. If it's bonds, if it's crypto, if it's assets, whatever, as long as you're making your money work for you, we have just gotten a taste of what inflation really, that was a word we never really cared about. But my goodness, now that we are dads and adults and we have to make our dollars and pesos stretch, my goodness, inflation, the peso / dollar is not what it used to be 1 year ago,
It's running
3
away
years
from us.
ago, 5 years ago. You got to make your money work for you. So the first thing I would do, James and Rafi, and to our viewers at home and listeners, you got to get into the mindset of investing, because unfortunately our mindset as Filipinos, we are consumers.
Good
We're not
advice.
savers.
Good advice.
Right.
And I mean, I love Shopee, I love Lazada and all that, but that is not the first thing we need to be on. We need to be on AXA. We need to be on Fidelity. We need to be
Right.
on those websites,
Right.
on Bitcoin. You
Right.
know, those are the things we should be spending our 15 and 30 on. You know, a little bit. We just asked you a little bit. Here's the thing we'd like to debunk, right? We're all about debunking. You don't have to be rich to invest.
No. Yeah.
A little bit of money goes a long way. We even now have, because of apps like Robinhood, who've gamified the investing and made it
Democratized
easy,
and gamified,
democratized and made it fun.
gamified, yeah.
You can do partial investing.
And
You can
tokenized.
yeah, and tokenized.
And
There you
tokenized,
go.
yeah.
Yeah,
Correct.
we're going to get into that a little later, but I just want to get to the basics of you have to change your mindset.
Right.
That's number one. Get out of the consumer mindset and get into the investor mindset.
Right.
So
That's awesome advice, because that's where it starts, the mindset. And I was off that mindset before. I didn't have any investments whatsoever. I remember I got the AXA off you pre-pandemic, right?
Yes, yeah.
And that was pretty much it. I mean, that I didn't have anything else, and I was keeping the rest in the bank because I had it. That's why I love your point, because I was thinking to myself, well, money in the bank, you know, that's how I was brought up, right?
Safe
Safe,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's safe. It's safe as money in the bank. It's even a saying. But you know, until inflation started to hit me, and I started to look at money, it's like this ice cube. You
Right.
know, if you don't have a good refrigerator or freezer, that thing is just going to melt and melt and melt. And that is fiat in a bank account. I'm sorry, there's no other easy way to say it. But if you leave it in
Preach.
cash, right, that's what's going to happen. So it's incumbent on you, and it's your responsibility as a father, as a breadwinner, as a provider, to try to make the most out of this. And that's why I love how you started, because it starts with the mindset. Get it out of your head that it's money that you're spending, investing and spending completely different
Right.
animals.
Yes,
Right.
this is your future self.
Right,
That's
right.
that's-
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
And where I think we've gotten, where it started to run away from us here, is the fiat experiment that we call it, is because fiat is basically an IOU. Fiat is the term for, I guess, money that's imposed upon you.
Right.
That's the root word in Latin, is money that is by decree or by order. You have no choice. This is what we're going to use to pay.
Yeah.
And that's it, right? And that's a
Yeah.
government-issued IOU based on nothing, because before it was based on gold. Before it had something.
The gold standard.
The gold
right?
standard was there worldwide. In 1971, when Nixon took it off the gold standard, it just became a free-for-all. So what we're now doing is we are in this fiat mindset. It's a new economy that was created. And this is basically, we're borrowing on our future productivity, right? So this is a debt is issued on our future productivity. But the biggest difference is that debt is selling our future to pay for our past. That is not how it works. Because
a bad idea.
Yes, because there's nothing wrong with borrowing against your future self
Right.
to invest in your future.
Right.
That we're used to that. You want to start a business, you will borrow your potential. You'll borrow on I suspect I'll make XYZ from this business. I need some seed money.
Correct.
That's fine. You're going in the same direction. It's borrowing from your future productivity, investing in your future self. What's happening now is they're selling your future out, what your GDP will be worth later on.
Right.
But they're paying for the past, because they're 37 trillion almost in debt now in the US, where interest payments are now higher than your military payments. That should never have happened. And that's a death spiral that will never end.
Yeah.
This is why what's going on right now with the controversy of the tariffs, I'm not even going to pretend that I understand it. I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert. But what I do know, and what I am sure of, is that I don't understand it, and neither do you.
Right.
Neither do you, and neither do you, no
Right.
offense.
Yeah, no.
I think even the people who are doing it are at most 75% sure.
Sure, right.
I'll give them the credit that the most knowledgeable person in there is probably 75% sure of what's going to happen.
Right.
there's still that large percentage of we don't know because there's so many moving parts. But what I think is being done here that's important is not just a global reset of trade, it's a global monetary system reset. That's what they're pushing for now. And this is why the world has to go into chaos in order for us to accept a new monetary system. So it normally precedes war.
Like a new global currency.
Yes, like either in the current system we use now is the Bretton Woods system that was developed after the war.
Right.
And that's usually when you always develop a new monetary system because
Right,
there's
yeah.
a global
Post-war.
collapse. Yes,
Yeah.
post-war. So post-war comes in, now you all sit and you meet. Who's the victor of the war at the time? US was the strongest. They had the strongest economy. So they were basically, we will be a reserve because we have the largest GDP,
Right.
the largest economy in the world. And this is why the other countries are complaining about the tariffs
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they're saying, you can't say there's a trade deficit because you started this system.
Right.
So to be fair to the countries that are complaining, they're saying, because Trump is saying this is not fair, we need to be equal, I'm just trying to get a better deal for America. And they're saying, yes, but it was you who started because you were the one that said, if you come to me and I'm the global reserve currency, then therefore I will buy all your stuff so that you can rebuild your countries after the war.
Right.
So that's fine. That's how it started. Trump's point in the money is like, okay, I get that, but that was 80 years ago.
Yeah.
So we're living in different times. And look at America. A lot of America looks worse than third world countries right now. There's certain pockets of America that are homelessness and
Appalachia.
yes.
It's
So
just
we
worse.
need to put America first is his point. And this is going to create it's going to create pain.
Disruption.
But not everybody is going to be treated the same. It's like I'm doing this one big global tariff so that you force all of you to the table.
To the table, yeah.
Now, maybe I'm
Make
not
a
sure
deal.
of the percentages, but maybe 50% of them will be like, not you, not really. I didn't mean you. I didn't mean you.
Yeah,
But thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And maybe we can we do a 10%? Is 10% okay? Are you okay with that? All right. I just want to revisit every single
Right.
one.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all I'm doing here.
Trying to renegotiate.
Yes,
everything, right.
because Trump's a businessman, art of deal, ego, all that.
Yeah.
He's like, I want leverage. What's my leverage? I'm the biggest global customer on planet Earth. Customer's always right. That's got to be worth something.
Yes.
So I'm sorry if you got used to it, but that's really, I think, where the truth is coming from him. Now, if I can reset global trade and at the same time reset the monetary system,
Right.
this is where it gets very complicated
Yeah.
because now people are looking at the trade war and they're selling off their bonds. Japan and China are both selling off their bonds, creating this yield, this
Right.
bond yield effect, which is scary and stuff like that. But something does need to be done because this effect of, let's say, China selling all their goods to America with that trade deficit imbalance, they get U.S. treasuries. They're buying more and more of America through the consumerism that they're, and that's a security risk.
Yeah, for sure. COVID, I think, was the thing that really exposed just how dependent the U.S. was
Yes,
on
that's
China,
another scary thing
on
he wants to
China's,
break off.
Right.
Yeah.
So their supply chain,
Toilet paper.
manufacturing.
You
yeah.
remember the toilet
Toilet
paper?
paper.
Chips.
Chips?
Not potato chips. I'm talking silicon chips.
Oh, yeah.
Which run the
Correct.
cars world, basically.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. You couldn't buy certain cars because
Yeah. It was just everything was there except the chip.
so dumb.
Yeah, exactly. Everything was there but the chip, exactly.
Right. So yeah.
I
So
tell you the dumb model.
So they got exposed, and I think it's just right to address just right to address all of that. Yes, it's really gonna hurt in the short term, but I think his heart's in the right place. Like to bring back manufacturing, to bring back
A better deal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
better
a better
deals,
deal.
better
It's
deals.
like,
for
I'm
trade.
sure we can do better than this.
Fairer, yeah.
I'm not saying how much
1000%.
better, but I'm sure if we went through it, we can find
Right.
ways where we get better.
Correct.
And I also agree with the fact that, look, right or wrong, that's his decision to make.
Yeah.
Because he ran on that platform. I mean, I know we're not all of us support Trump, but that was the mandate from the people. It was clear. He ran on that
He
platform.
ran on that.
A
Yeah.
majority of people voted for it.
Yeah.
Even if he's wrong, you got to give him his chance to try it. Because one thing is for sure, he may be wrong. I don't know. I'm not blinded by the fact that he could be wrong about this, but there's a could.
Yeah.
Right now, it's definitely wrong. What's
1000%.
happening now is not working.
Yeah.
So let's try something else.
Right.
That something else might be wrong, but it might be right too.
Yeah.
This one here comes with a guarantee it's not working. because we're trying it.
Yeah.
And
it
it's
hasn't
failing.
worked.
It hasn't worked.
It hasn't worked.
And we're ending the cycle of all monetary systems, fiat monetary systems. They have a maximum of like an 80-year life cycle.
Right.
And we're right there at the 80.
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
right
yeah.
there.
We're on
It's
the
a
brink.
perfect,
Yeah.
absolute perfect arc.
Right.
And so it's well in due. We're due for it.